You wake up and something feels wrong, not outside, inside. You can't stop thinking, comparing, planning, fearing. You scroll, you read, you analyze, you know everything that could go wrong, every possible outcome, every tragedy disguised as comfort. And the irony? The smarter you get, the worse you feel. Welcome to the Curse of Overthinking, the hidden disease of the modern mind. You think you're being careful, rational, intelligent, but you're not thinking. You're looping. You're spinning the same thoughts until they carve scars into your peace. Plato said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." But he never warned us about the opposite, that the over-examined life might not be worth surviving. You've mistaken awareness for control, information for understanding, caution for safety. And now your mind is both your prison and your God. You see, there's a point where intelligence becomes self-destruction, where the search for truth turns into the fear of being wrong, where logic devours empathy and understanding drains joy. That's what happens when your brain refuses to rest. It feeds on uncertainty, like a fire starved for oxygen. You think more to feel safe, but the more you think, the less safe you become. Nietzsche once said, "When you stare into the abyss stares back at you." He wasn't warning philosophers, he was warning you, because the abyss isn't the world. It's your own consciousness. You wanted clarity, but clarity comes with consequence. Once you understand people's motives, you can't unsee manipulation. Once you grasp how fleeting time is, joy starts to taste like grief. Once you see how fragile life is, safety feels like a lie. And yet, you keep digging, because the mind craves what the heart can't handle, certainty. But wisdom doesn't bring certainty. It brings surrender. Bonhoeffer wrote that stupidity is not a lack of intelligence, but a failure of moral clarity, a refusal to confront truth. You've done the opposite. You've confronted truth so often that it became unbearable. That's the danger of knowing too much. You stop participating in life and start analyzing it. You stop feeling and start diagnosing your own emotions like equations. Knowledge becomes armor, and that armor becomes a cage. You've built an identity around awareness, the quiet pride of someone who gets it. But what if getting it means losing it? Losing wonder, losing rest, losing the part of you that once marveled at simple things without dissecting them. Machiavelli said that men judge more with their eyes than with their hands because everyone sees, but few touch. He was talking about rulers, but it applies to thinkers too. You've spent your life seeing. When was the last time you touched? Touched the dirt, the sea, the pulse of something alive that doesn't need to be understood to be loved? You live in a world where knowledge is currency, where ignorance is mocked. But perhaps ignorance, not stupidity but innocence, was the last true freedom. Because before you knew everything that could go wrong, you still believed it could go right. Jung warned that overanalysis is the shadow of intellect, the darkness cast by too much light. To integrate the mind, you must balance it with soul. The soul doesn't need to know. It needs to experience. But you've silenced the soul. You've made logic the only God worth worshiping. And now, logic has turned on you. That's the tragedy of modern wisdom. We know more than ever, but understand less. We can explain love biologically, but can't feel it deeply. We can define beauty, but we've forgotten how to see it. We think we've evolved past superstition, but we still worship. Not gods, but data, screens, opinions, metrics. And in that noise, the spirit disappears. Knowledge gives you power, but it also gives you despair. Because the moment you see the full scope of life, its fragility, its chaos, its indifference, you realize that peace was never found in knowing. It was found in not needing to. The cure isn't ignorance, it's balance. To know enough to see clearly, but not so much that you stop seeing beauty. It's learning to let some questions remain unanswered, some mysteries remain sacred. The paradox of intelligence is that the mind wants to dissect what the heart wants to hold, and you can't do both. To love something, you must stop analyzing it. So maybe wisdom isn't knowing more, it's knowing when to stop. Because when you finally stop overthinking, you realize the world doesn't need to be solved. It just needs to be lived. And the moment you return to that, to wonder, to silence, to surrender, you'll see that truth was never hidden. It was always right here, waiting for you to stop asking. The mind seeks to understand life. The soul just wants to feel it. And maybe the truest form of wisdom is remembering how to do both, without letting one destroy the other.